So it's Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined once again by Eric Donovan. Eric, how are you?
I'm very good, Danny. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, mate, anytime. I think the last most people will have seen of you in a boxing ring was at Fight Camp, not the one just gone, but the one in 2020 when you gave Zelfa Barrett all sorts of problems before, unfortunately, from your point of view, just coming up a little bit short towards the end of the fight. Just tell us a little bit about what's happened since then, because you've gone perhaps under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably a fair assessment. Yeah, I mean, like, the fight came out of the blue last year, because it was lockdown and the pandemic was at its worst. And, when the fight camp come up and the fight was kind of proposed to me, I jumped all over it. And I thought it was a great chance for me to kind of gate crash the party and, make a name for myself and, kick on. And I was going so well for so long. And then just ultimately, I got caught with a big punch and never really recovered. But I've learned loads since then, and I've realized I had to kind of bring in some experience as well. I've worked with, I have a new coach now as well, in Packy Collins. Kenneth Egan was my coach up to that point. And me and Ken are really good friends as well, are good pals. But I just need that professional experience, somebody, who can kind of help me to navigate those later rounds, the deep end rounds, and so far that's been a really good a good partnership and a good transition. So I got back into the ring afterwards, after the Zelfa fight in December of 2020, and I beat Raffaello Castillo in Belgium. Yeah, it was just really just a kind of a get back to winning ways fight, and then finish out 2020 with a win. That's what it was all about, and a few rounds. And then in 2021, in March, I went back to Belgium. I was supposed to fight another tough kind of a journeyman guy just to kind of keep the wheels moving. And there was a logistics issue or something along the lines with his medicals. It was a British fighter, actually. I can't remember his name. And so he never made it over. And so I just stayed going in the gym, kept working away in the gym. And in May of this year, I landed the EU super featherweight European title fight in Italy, in Lombardy, against Mario Alfano. And I was flying for that fight. I was in great shape. And my very last spar, actually, it was my second last spar, about 10 days out, I fractured my ribs. And I was gutted, absolutely gutted. And it's, but look, these are the things that happen. These are the life events that kind of inevitably come, curveballs do come your way, and for me, it just happened to be at that time, and I had to take it on the chin, excuse the pun, but, that's where I'm at. And now I'm back into my first fight of this year and my first fight in the last, nearly 10 months, but I can't wait to get back in there.
And that's Saturday night, of course, in Belfast. Fans will be back in, I believe, as well. So that must be pretty cool for you after, having been at Fight Camp with no fans and then out in Belgium, where I'm assuming not many travelled, with no disrespect meant to your fan base, but it's an interesting trip during these COVID times. But now you get to do it in front of some home supporters.
Yeah, I'm so happy for this. I'm really buzzing for this. And it's going to be a nice, intimate, unique kind of a gig because, in Ireland, we don't have many dinner shows. I know it's a big thing in the UK, but it's going to be a nice dinner show, and it's going to be like a 4-course meal, and just 5 fights, 5 professional fights. I'll be topping the bill. And all my fans are coming. I could have sold, I think the capacity is only allowed to be 50% or something, which I think it's about 250, 260. But it could have been sold 4 or 5 times over, and that's the kind of the appetite that's out there at the minute to watch me boxing, and also to kind of get back out to normal living kind of conditions, So no, but look, I have a good few fans coming up, and it's going to be a cracking night.
How did you feel when you were watching Fight Camp this time around? What sort of kind of memories and stuff did that bring up?
Yeah, it was kind of weird because you know, most like a lot of the time I get asked the Zelfa Barrett questions and stuff, and in a way I'm kind of like I've moved on from it, but still at the same time I can understand why people would want to continually talk about that fight because it was a high profile fight. It was a huge fight. He's a serious operator. He's a serious contender, and my story was a bit of a redemption one, and like I'm coming back, and I had a lot of interest and I did so well. So my stock kind of rose up as well, even in defeat, but that's I suppose it's a little bit of consolation, but look, I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, I want to win, so at the end of the day, I lost and I have to accept that and move on. But yeah, I'd like to move past it. But at the same time, I was watching the fight camp there recently, and yeah, it wasn't bad. It was all right. I enjoyed it. But it made me want to be back there. It made me want to be back there, and especially with the fans. Like, there's a few people calling Eddie Hearn out as well on Twitter every now and then. They're like, Eddie, you promised Eric Donovan another shot.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I was going to say it was kind of seemed to be implied certainly at the time that you would be back on a Matchroom show, and it hasn't happened yet.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, but like, you can understand like what's the nature of things over the last few months. They haven't really been plain sailing either, So it is still difficult times, but we're moving out of it now. And I think Ireland's a little bit behind the UK as well. And the event sector here has not even been back on. Musicians are not even working, still. It's terrible. So hopefully now we'll get back out there. But I have a good manager. Mark Dunlop is a brilliant manager, and he's the reason behind this fight Saturday night is to get me back in action, get me back on track. 6 rounds. Hopefully I get a good 6 rounds. Hopefully my opponent will be solid. And then after that, I don't want to kind of press Mark on it, but I know that he has things up his sleeve for me. I know he's working away behind the scenes to get me back out there. And I believe I'm a big big enough name in the professional game at the featherweight division or the super featherweight division. So I'm just waiting for my chance to kind of get another break. And I do believe I get another break, Danny. I don't believe I'll have endless chances, but I do believe I'll have another chance.
And a fight that intrigues quite a lot of people out there, although I'm not sure if it business-wise it's something they'll want to make at the moment, is you and Anthony Kaychi. Obviously, he's riding high at the moment. He's just had another good win at the weekend. Both very good technical boxers, both Irish, of course. Is that something you could ever see happening?
It's funny. That's the first time it's ever been suggested to me. And I have to say, let's say Anthony Kaychi's performance the other night was absolutely top class, and it just goes to show you the kind of talent that he is. He's a great fighter. And he's a good friend, We've been friends since the amateur days, and I've went up and sparred him as well during the professional days as well. I did a few rounds with him actually before the Zelfa fight. So, we know each other fairly well. We boxed in the amateurs as well. Anthony won that fight. It was a close fight, but he won that fight back in the amateurs. And, it's never actually been suggested to me. So he hasn't really been on my radar, but yeah, he is a super featherweight, and I'm kind of operating between the two weights, featherweight or super featherweight, and I'm 36 years of age. I can't really turn down any chances or opportunities at this stage. I can't say, oh no, I'll wait till next year, because like life moves on and it moves fairly fast. But he has the British title, and I've no interest in the British title. It's not something that interests me at all. No. So that's not what I'm after. The European title has been my goal, and that's where my focus is at the moment.
Where are you more likely to get a shot at the European, do you think, at feather or at super feather? How's it shaking out?
Yeah, it's hard to know. Maybe Mark is probably the best man to ask this question. But you know, the Guilfoy beat Adoni Gago recently for the featherweight European title fight. Like, and that's one there that I would absolutely love. And then you've got Mauro Forte, who has the EU featherweight title, the Italian. So I mean, like, I would jump over them fights like in an instant, you know. And then up at the super featherweight, you've got Ziani, you know, he's very, very good, very, very strong fighter. I would take that fight, but it would be a very difficult fight. I do think I would be stronger in the featherweight division at actually trying to secure that belt. But like as I said, it's not something that I would, if I was offered any of those fights, I would go for them. And then you've got like a couple of maybe world ranking intercontinental titles as well that are out there, you know. I don't know, WBO, IBF, European titles, stuff like that. That they interest me as well because they can open doors for you too, you know. So I do believe there's a big fight down the line, or you know, in the very near future, and I just have to be ready for that.
And down at featherweight, we've obviously got a couple of fighters in the UK who are doing pretty well at the moment on the world scene. Kid Galahad recently secured the vacant IBF belt against Jazza Dickens. Leigh Wood's got the WBA regular title as well. They've been talking about potentially fighting. In terms of kind of coming back to the UK to fight, is that either of those interest you?
Oh, so much so. Like, you know, Kid Galahad, I think I'd have a brilliant fight off him. Leigh Wood, you know, world champion. Just goes to show you how boxing is. You know, a couple of months ago, he was giving out online, you know, about his career and about, you know, not having an opportunity or whatever. And I think he was complaining about not having a defense for his title, like, you know, and almost like that he was left out in the cold. And next minute he's world champion, you know. So it just goes boxing is snakes and ladders, you know. So look, I know how hard boxing is. We're all warriors, we're grafters, we try our hard and we train so hard, we put our life and soul into the sport. And anybody that gets the top rewards, like what Leigh Wood did, and I take my hat off to him. I think it's an absolute joy to see people like win and achieve at the very top level. So massive kudos to them. But like, if I was offered Leigh Wood, Kid Galahad, Reece Bellotti, Jordan Gill, in a heartbeat, you know, like these are great fights for me. And I think they're great fights for the UK fans as well. Like, so look, these guys, I think, might be profile-wise and stuff like that, in terms of their backing and their promoters and stuff, they might be a little bit they might think that I need them more than they, and they're probably right. They're probably right. Like, I probably do, because I'm looking for a break, and I don't think there's too many keen candidates who want to give me that chance. But hey, I have to keep working away, and hopefully one day I get there.
Well, they've probably seen the fight with Zelfa and thought, you know, but for the grace of God, it could have gone very differently for him. So you can understand perhaps why they might be avoiding you, but hopefully that break comes sooner rather than later. I want to wish you the very best of luck, obviously, for Saturday night. I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. I don't want to act like it's a 50-50, obviously, but get back out, shed that rust, and hopefully we'll see you in a big fight soon.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. It's a real pleasure talking to you, and thanks for keeping an interest in my career. Really appreciate it.
No problem, mate. You made a big impression on a lot of people, I think, at fight camp. So we're all got our fingers crossed for you.